All right. Hello, everybody. Today, I'd like to talk a bit about this game, Elite Dangerous. I've been playing it on and off for, almost ever since it released first on console. It's been released for about 10 years now. So I've been playing it for. I've been playing it on and off for 10 years. I first started on console, but then console support was dropped, so I switched over to PC recently. And I've been getting back to the game. And I have to say, I have a lot of things to talk about. So we're gonna go and approach them one by one. I'm gonna try and stay focused on topics because I have so many things I want to talk about that I might get scatterbrained if I don't force myself to be focused. And while we talk about this, I'm gonna go ahead and fight some giant aliens because that's the thing that started my entire desire to rant about stuff. You see, when I first started the game on PC, I'd never played with the new Odyssey expansion, which added on-foot gameplay, personal weapons, personal combat, scavenging on foot, all that kind of on foot stuff. So when I first started the game, I played a whole bunch of on foot stuff. And then I kind of found out that humanity was at war with giant aliens. And I thought about, I should maybe help in the giant alien war. And that's what kind of launched me into this giant rabbit hole. Excuse me. Now, Elite Dangerous is mostly, or I would say it's mainly, a ship flying simulator. Almost everything you do in the game involves flying a ship. Mining, trading, combat, exploration, it's all ship-based. Apart from the new stuff that was added in the game with exploration on the surface of planets and combat on the surface of planets. This all first started back in 2016 with the Horizon DLC, which added planet-based stuff. And alongside planet-based stuff, it added the main topic of today, which was engineers. You see, the game at the time kind of lacked ship customization. And by lacked, I don't mean... It didn't lack customization in the terms that fighting ships can only fight and trading ship can only trade or that kind of stuff. It lacked fine-tuning. Certain ships were slightly worse than others at doing certain things, but if all they required was a bit of fine-tuning, it would be amazing ships and all kinds of stuff. So engineers were added to the game. Basically, they allow you to fine-tune your parts on your ship. That sounds all good. Actually, I do like this idea. The concept, the base idea of fine-tuning every single part on your ship, that sounds fun and cool for a ship flying simulator. The problem was all in the execution. When I first played on console back in 2016, and the same thing happened here when I went back to PC, when I had to interact with the engineer system, it made me want to quit the game. I actually quit the game back in 2016, and here, it all restarted. When I first wanted to join the alien war, I kind of realized that the game had made it way more accessible to get into the war. Anti-alien weapons were available for everybody. Ships weren't that expensive to get into. You don't need that much. However, it's not that great. It doesn't feel that great to get into the war with basic ships and basic components. Engineered components are way comfier. So I wanted to get into engineering. And that was when I discovered that the engineering system was basically unchanged from when it first released back in 2016. Basically, dang it. Basically, what you have to do is, first, you unlock engineers, which range from a whole bunch of things. So, for example, for this ship, I needed an engineer to specially customize my armor. I needed an engineer to specially change my weapons, well, not the weapons, the utilities, the thrusters, the power plant, a whole bunch of stuff. So, to do all of that stuff, all of this customization, I need to do a whole bunch of random tasks which had nothing to do with what I actually wanted to do, which was fight aliens. I had to go and travel 5,000 light years, I had to go ahead and mine a whole bunch of rocks, I had to go ahead and I don't remember, smuggle stuff on the black market. Basically, you had to do a lot of unrated things to unlock engineers. And then you have to bring them special items or something to get their services, so more fetch quests. It would be fun, you know, if I played the games for 1,000 hours back in 2016 and the update release, and now you have a whole bunch of side activities to do to unlock a whole bunch of end game super specialized stuff. But really, this is only like gating ship customization or fine tuning. So it seemed to me a bit let's say over complex for what amounts to buying minimal upgrades for your ship. But that's not the worst part. Even though it was a pretty bad part. You know, if I could have only killed aliens or do special stuff related to aliens to unlock special alien engineers to fight aliens, you know, it's all related, it's all in the same ballpark, that would be actually fun. The worst part was gathering materials, because once you've unlocked the engineers and you unlock their services, you actually need the materials to customize your parts. And the problem is, or at least it used to be, back in 2016 especially, that materials were really, really hard to gather. So hard that actually exploits and unintended gameplay features were used to gather the materials. For example, when I first started gathering materials, I had to find a location with lots of the material I want, log in. Well, okay, that's not the first find the location, go over there, gather the materials, unlog, relog, and restart. That doesn't make for great gameplay. Recently, though, they've changed it a tiny bit for 1/3 of the gameplay. That makes it makes it way easier to gather 1/3 of the materials. Which is a good step in the right direction, but it doesn't fix the fundamental problem, which is I have to do random stuff to get to my core gameplay. I can't. Well, actually, that's not true. That's not all been changed. But you used that you couldn't do what you wanted to do to get materials. So you couldn't trade for your materials. You couldn't mine for your materials. At least not all of them. You couldn't fight for your materials. At least not all of them. You had to do a whole bunch of random stuff to get materials, which were unrelated to what you actually wanted to do in the game. Now, recently they changed it. So from now on, fighting aliens gives you all the materials, which is good, because that's what I wanted to do 2 months ago. Unfortunately, I already farmed all the materials, so that's been a really big disappointment for me. But it doesn't really change the fact that this is like 10 years, this is 8 years since the first Engineers released, and aliens were in the game. And all that stuff's been the same way for 8 years, and it's only now that's being changed. I'd say it's a bit late for that kind of switch. Now, obviously, I don't want to crap all over the system. I did say I like the idea of fine-tuning your parts. And the activities in themselves, you know, smuggle, mine, they're not bad, they're just not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to have to travel 5,000 light years away from the solar system for a day. I didn't want to have to mine 100 platinum. I didn't want to do all that stuff straight away, but I needed to unlock the engineers to get my special hull reinforcements or expanded heatsink capacity. Now, I do understand why this was made this way. Elite Dangerous, even though it's a ship flying simulator first and foremost, it has also many other things. You know, it's a trading kind of simulator. It's a FPS, if you do the on-foot combat. Damn it, I forgot to load up on repair drones. You know, it's an FPS, even though I would say there's 0 FPS players. Nobody's coming in from Call of Duty or Apex to play this game for its on-foot combat. It's an exploration game, kind of. It's, you know, it's not an action-adventure or anything like that. But the biggest, apart from, you know, simulation ship sci-fi fans, I would say the biggest other player base the game has will be MMO players. Because the game is kind of always online. Even though right now I'm playing single player, I am fighting an online boss raid, technically. This giant alien about to go and F up. And the engineers seem a bit more of an MMO mechanic, rather than a simulation mechanic, since you have all these requirements you have to fulfill, you have all these random stuff the materials you have to gather. And when the game first released, engineering was randomized. You couldn't choose what effects got on what parts, which definitely made it an endgame mechanic. It reminds me of what they did in Monster Hunter. I'm a big Monster Hunter fan, and every single game always has one piece of gear, whether it's decorations for your armor slots or talismans for your 6th armor piece. There's always one piece of gear that's RNG, 100% RNG. It makes it so you have an infinite amount of possibility you can add to your build, or a whole bunch of new builds that are potentially available as long as you get the correct RNG. So it makes the grind, the reason you grind for the game, the reason you play the game, it elongates the lifespan basically of the game. And also, you know, it's fun. It gives you an excuse to hunt more, it gives you an excuse to play the game more. And Engineers, when they first released 8 years ago, were supposed to be that, I think. They were designed to be... Oh, damn it, I just wasted the drill. They were designed to be an endgame mechanic where you get some nice RNG buffs to your parts. But now, 8 years later, for example, for this thing I'm about to do, to go and bomb the Titan, the giant alien ship, they're not exactly required, but they're strongly encouraged. In fact, I tried to do this without any engineered parts, and I got destroyed almost instantly. I couldn't make it past the field, I couldn't do anything. That's another problem for a different time. Right now we're going to stick to engineering. So Engineers used to be, 8 years ago, an endgame grind mechanic. So you get to play the game more for different goals and that kind of stuff, which is okay. The problem is, there's two different mechanics being mixed together here. There's the ship tuning, and there's the endgame grind mechanic. Which I don't think they went together all that well, honestly. If the Engineers did something else that was all 100% RNG, I think it wouldn't be so bad. I don't know what kind of thing it would be. Maybe, I don't know, ammo types or whatever, like an RNG effect on your total ship or something. I think it'd be more palatable 8 years ago. However, nowadays, a whole slew of activities are considered, let's say, enjoyable with engineered parts. This activity, for example, being the prime example. When I first wanted to get into the alien war, we were fighting a different giant enemy boss. It was called Indara. This one's called Thor. The last one I wanted to do was Indara. And I couldn't, for the life of me, get to him. I couldn't approach him. I couldn't not get instantly smoked by everything that was in the field. I couldn't do it. So I resigned and chose to go down the engineering pathway. Which is what made me, because it took me about 2 months, oh damn it, to get to this point. I kind of forgot to, whoops. I might have accidentally disabled my anti-field thingy-majig. That's my bad. I wasn't paying attention. Let me see. Where is it? Oh no, it's activated. That was weird. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, I'm dying. That happens. When I first started wanting to get into this gameplay loop of going to bomb giant enemy ships, engineering it's not 100, once again, it's never 100% required, but it is strongly recommended. It's like getting to a battle royale and you never pick up a gun. I'm pretty sure you can technically win a battle royale without never picking up a gun or killing anybody, except maybe the last kill. But it's not going to be all that enjoyable, is it? So yeah, the Engineers first started as an endgame RNG grinding activity, but as time went on, they became more and more and more of a quality of life requirement to enjoy the game. Which is what led it to here, where a whole bunch of changes are being made. So when you participate into the alien war, you get all the materials. That's cool. All the materials gathering has been enhanced, apparently. I don't know, I haven't taken part of it. I haven't tried, because I already filled up on materials. However, the gate to access the Engineers still hasn't been changed at all, so Engineers are they still require you to do random stuff to get access to them. And the system is not exactly... I would say it needs a fundamental redesign. because a lot of things that you'd think would be, because the feature went from a end game grind mechanic to a late game quality of life mechanic. I think the fundamental design is flawed. The fact that you have to gather materials instead of just paying for it. You know, when in GTA, when I want to customize my car, I can just go to a garage and pay for the modifications. Or in simulation games like, I don't know, like My Summer Car, enhancing your car is like the 100% gameplay loop. Whereas here, you have a ton of gameplay loops. You have, you know, mining, combat, all that kind of stuff. So they had to make engineers varied, but they are really grindy. Like, I can't overemphasize how insanely annoying and grindy they used to be. Anyway, this is the first part of the problem. The second part of the problem is also that because all these redesigns have been happening to make engineering more accessible, it kind of made me realize how the game is once again lacking an endgame mechanic. Where it used to be that you'd play the game for thousands and thousands of hours to fine-tune every ship. As the engineering mechanic becomes less and less grindy and RNG and annoying and long to take, the easier it is, the less the game has an endgame, basically. Apparently they're still working on a whole bunch of new features and all that kind of stuff, but honestly, it's been... engineering first released 8 years ago, and only now has something to make changes to make it bearable for somebody who doesn't want to play Engineering Simulator. So I'm kind of worried that these new features, which are going to be probably, I guess, the replacement to Endgame, are also going to be suffering from the same problems that engineering used to suffer back at release. let me drink some water. Actually, I don't have my water. Dang. Anyway, so that was engineering. It's not, you know, I kind of did a brief, but it's not exactly a brief, but I did a bit of an overview on it. Obviously, there's more problems, and there's more qualities too. Different players played this game, so for MMO players, I'm sure they liked the way Elite Dangerous did Endgame compared to other MMOs. I can't really say because I hate MMOs. I never played them. Actually, I played them, but I never liked them. So I don't know exactly what an MMO player sees in an MMO that what they like to see. But I'm guessing that engineering in this game was it. Let me just check my engineering. Let me see what kind of other city things I have to do to unlock engineers. I think I have all the engineers I want unlocked. You know, I can still fine-tune my reactor to be of a higher grade or something like that, but I don't think I want to. Oh, also, the game is asking me to play it. Excuse me, the game wants me to play. The good thing is, ever since I stopped doing engineering, I've been having fun playing the game. Which isn't something you'd think would be a phrase you'd say, but it's kind of a huge problem. This issue with engineering kind of makes the game really hard to approach for a new player. Especially the end game. When you first start the game, you know, the first 20 hours, I would say, are fine. You know, you discover the game, you get used to piloting, you discover the universe, you find all the quirks of the game. After a while, you want to do other stuff. You want to do other gameplay loops. Obviously, the one that sticks out the most, at least for me, the one that did stick out the most was fighting aliens in a giant intergalactic war. Well, inter-solar war. You know, that kind of stuck out to me for some reason. I couldn't tell you why. And that's what brought up all of these issues with engineering in the first place. Now, if you guys are experts in Elite Dangerous, I would appreciate any tips and tricks you have for this kind of combat, because I'm just a noob. even though I have like 200 hours in the game, I've only ever started. I basically never did any combat for all these 200 hours. So I just started the gameplay of fighting in space in Elite Dangerous after all this time. So if you elite super mega pilots have anything to recommend, I'd appreciate it. Anyway, so engineers are annoying to deal with, they're grindy, they're not easy to understand, which is another issue the game has, which I'm going to talk about next week. I think I have 2 or 3 issues that I want to talk about. Today will be engineers, tomorrow, next week for you guys, it's going to be, let me see, world building, maybe, because I have a lot of issues with Elite Dangerous's world building. And after that, I'm thinking we can talk also about the in-game resources you have to deal with to understand what the heck is going on in the game and what you want to do and all that kind of stuff. Whoop. Here's the ideal. I'm not the most gracious of pilots. Not yet, anyway. Okay. Let me just repair a bit while the aggro deactivates eventually. It'll take a while. A bit wonky, but it happens. Ugh. I'm pretty sure the enemies can't shoot me here. I've been using this spot for a while now, and I've never gotten shot here. Once again, a bit wonky, but it works. It feels a bit badass when you first enter here with a whole bunch of aliens on your tail. Yeah, so engineering, bad system, was good concept for what it was. I think it was first implemented okay, you know, it was alright. Grindy, but you didn't have to deal with it if you didn't want to, unless you were playing PvP. But now, it's being redesigned. It's not being redesigned from the ground up, mind you. It's not like from now on you're gonna have engineers at every station you visit, and you can fine-tune all your parts for, you know, just on charity. You still have to get your materials like you used to. It's just been rendered like 100 times easier, which kind of defeats the point that all these 8 years have been super mega thousands and thousands of hours grindy for now to be made pointless, basically. The modifications they aren't RNG anymore. You can ask to get what you want to get, so there's no RNG limit involved anymore. It used to be that before the update, it used to be that you'd have a random amount of times you'd have to upgrade to access the next tier of upgrading. I'll show off the engineering system once we get back on station, once I'm done with this run. Shouldn't be too long because I kind of forgot to... I kind of forgot to pack up repair drones, which is a bit of an issue when we're going to be fighting aliens, you know, as it happens. Expert pilot here. Ah, damn it, they didn't lose aggro. Whoop. That's pointless. But then my other method of losing aggro was just to go to the edge of the asteroid field. It is the one I know of. While this happens, I'm gonna craft a couple of heat sinks because I kind of just use all the ones I had. I like this kind of gameplay. Don't get me wrong, engineering was awful and boring and grindy. This is pretty cool. I like it. Fighting aliens, dealing with temperature gauges, which I never had to do before. Using specially made anti-alien weapons to blow up giant ships. All that stuff is awesome. Once again, I think the game's greatest strength is still in this ship flying simulator. You know, it's not... I don't think it's ever going to be an FPS master of the likes of Call of Duty and Battlefield. Even though there's on-foot combat and all that kind of stuff. It's probably never going to be a Empire Manager or a City Builder, you know, random stuff I'm bringing up, but it's never going to be these things. It's always going to be, at least I hope, a good ship flying simulator, like how the MechWarrior games are amazing mech piloting games. And it shouldn't be forgotten that that's kind of the purpose or the ethos of the game. The day that the game stops being a ship flying simulator, it might as well be a different game. Speaking of, it's been 10 years since the game first released. And I feel like at some point, eventually, as the devs want to do more and more things differently, at some point it's gonna have to be thought about that a sequel to this game has to be released eventually, at some point. Ah, damn it. Leave me alone. Bleh. I've mostly lost aggro. Just not totally. It'll happen. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Probably. Anyway, back to bombing. Hey doggy. The dog is here too, by the way. He just entered. Also, yes, this the computer has been in French. I changed the voice to be French because, I don't know, it's unique. It didn't cost anything. The game seems to be... I think the reason all these changes are being made is because the game is going from an MMO model to a live service model. So there's no longer need... There's not going to be a subscription model to the game. It's not going to be... What the heck? That's never happened before. Leave me alone! No, I got stuff to do. But the game is coming from a MMO model going into a live service model. I think I'm gonna have to retreat after this run. I'm getting bumped really hard. And that's why these changes to engineers are being made, and that's why the game is starting to release paid ships, and it's gotten a lot more cosmetics ever since I first played the game all these years ago. It used to be that way. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's try not to die. I found the game's difficulty. Once again, it's tied to engineering. You know, jump distance is a huge deal. The game is way less of a pain in the ass as long as you have a good enough travel distance. So for example, this ship here, the Challenger, at first you only get a jump distance of about, let's say, 20-25 light years. But now with all the upgrades I've made to the ship, it can jump as far as, I think it's 40 light years? So what used to be a 10 jump travel is now half that. It's only a 5 jump travel, which is way better. Once again, quality of life being tied to engineering. I've engineered all my, you know, my drives to be long distance. Engineered my, I don't know, my thrusters to be faster. That kind of stuff. Makes the game way funner, basically. It just makes the game better to have all these unlocks unlocked. It's fun. It's just funner. You get to do more things. You spend less time just jumping between systems. I wonder if I'm gonna make it out of this. Probably. I have a trick I've seen that I've been using to get out of here. Excuse me if things get a bit queasy. It happens. Half the time I'd say this, the trick I'm about to pull off is a vomit fest if you are inclined that way. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Eventually. Not yet. I think it's happening now. Go, 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 go. Got it. Okay. I'm just gonna look down in case you guys are feeling this is vomit-inducing. Don't think about it. The voice is in French, so you don't have to worry about the announcement it's making about us about to explode and caustic substances. Don't listen to the French voice. The French lady doesn't know what she's talking about. Anyway, we escaped. Let me stop the vomit. Okay. Yeah. That's a neat trick. See, that's what I'm talking about. The ship flying simulator, which is neat to fly around in. Anyway, let's make our way back to base. I'm gonna restock and leave you guys there after my little rant on engineering. I have many more rants in stock for this game. Not that it's a bad game, mind you, it's just that I spent, I'd say, out of my 200 hours in the game, I spent 150 of them hating the game because I was forced into a gameplay loop I didn't want to participate in because it has awesome quality of life which make the game amazing to play. Well, amazing. It just makes the game feel better to play. Which is kind of important, you know, when your entire gameplay loop revolves around flying a ship. I think I can also do an extra episode on my experience playing the game when I first got it on PC. I played the game basically without a ship. I was on foot the entire time, using shuttles to travel around and that kind of stuff. I think it was an experience. Let's call it that. It was a thing that happened. No further comments are required. So anyway, yeah, me fighting giant aliens was the thing I wanted to do for this entire 200-hour run, and I've only been about to do it for, I'd say, about 10 hours. You know, we just recently unlocked the ability to go and fight this Titan, the giant alien thing I just bonked, right after I missed out the window for the last one, as I was too busy doing engineering. Damn you. Another reason to be aggravated against engineering: took 2 months to unlock everything and get everything right, which kind of gives you a small turnaround time to go and do something which is time sensitive. Imagine there's a community goal that requires you to do something related to engineering, like the last one that just happened, which was you have to go and get engineering materials and donate them. Of course it's not going to be done by the players. I'd say if there's any new players in this game, which I am one of them, kind of, technically. If there's any new players in the game, they can't even participate, at least not in the way it was meant to. They can't even participate if they wanted to. At least, they can't participate without sacrificing something valuable by giving away engineering materials for a community goal or using engineered stuff, because before you get materials, you probably should unlock engineers first, which is a whole other thing you have to do. It's a whole process, which is awful. Once we go back on the station, I'll look a bit deeper into the engineers and see if there's any more that make me really angry. Any more engineers I have to unlock that make me really irrationally mad. You know, there was a new news story that just came out today about the attack on the giant Titan. This one. Just a generic message. Yeah, this text I saw when I first played the game. It was about the assault on Indra. I read this text and it really did not help. It did not help me get into the Titan to bonk him. It wasn't great. It was a bad experience. I wasn't an Asp Explorer. That was my ship I had at the time. I had the wrong kind of pulse neutralizer, so I couldn't, because the two pulse neutralizers are named weirdly. I picked up the wrong one. I didn't even know I did. So the first time I died was because the pulse didn't work and I got eaten by the caustic stuff because I ran out of caustic launchers. I only had one caustic launchers. Then I retooled my ship. I made it past the pulse wave, and it got beaten up real bad inside because I didn't have enough protection. And the third time around, I went inside. I had the correct protection, had the correct 9-9 torpedoes, but I didn't have the correct missiles. I had the enhanced missile launch, the advanced missile launchers, not the AX missile launchers. So that was the wrong kind of missiles. And at the end of it, I thought, you know what? If I'm gonna do this properly, I might as well do this all the way and get engineered components too to make this way easier. Going twice as fast does help reduce caustic damage in the cloud. Having bigger caustic launchers does help with the caustic launcher, you know, duh. Having engineering materials so you can refill your modules is helpful. So many things tied to engineering, which I feel like are way outside of the scope of the initial mechanic. Oop. Anyway, that was a bit ranty. And it's gonna be more ranty in the future too. Oop. The next topic we're gonna broach is gonna be the world. Oh, oops. It's gonna be the world building, which I think has huge issues in this game. The world building is really... Let's say... I see lots of people praise the game's world building. If we're gonna compare this game to other universes that are amazing at world building, like my favorite, for example, the Battletech universe or the Elder Scrolls universe, or things more, you know, that aren't even video games, like the Game of Thrones universe, or I don't know, other sci-fi fantasies like Star Wars or Star Trek. This game has, at best, mediocre world building, which I'm going to talk about on the next video. Maybe just go and get mad at all the engineering stuff I'm about to see. So, in case you guys didn't know, this is what engineering looks like. Never mind, I can't. Never mind, I can't. Whenever you go and meet an engineer, you can pin a blueprint. Usually it's going to be the most useful blueprint because there's blueprints that are way better than others. Like, for example, jump range on your jump drive. You wouldn't want to take anything else because jump range is so cool. It's so good to have bigger jump ranges. It makes the game... It just makes the game more... You spend less time with your brain turned off just jumping between places. But anyway. You pin blueprints, usually the best blueprints. So, for example, for... I don't know, for... Who has my jump blueprint? Probably Elvira, maybe? I think she's the one I got with a pinned frame shift drive blueprint, which is going to be the jump range. Unfortunately, you also have to manually visit every single engineer whenever you want to put the extra boost of experimental effects on your drives. Basically, there's the basic effect. You can put 2 effects on your ship. One that's going to be graded from 1 to 5, and one experimental, which is a flat boost. Unfortunately, you can't use experimentals from using a pin. You have to go manually to the engineer, land on their planet, upgrade experimentally your one piece, and then go and travel every engineer one at a time to upgrade all of your parts, which is also a big pain in the ass. If all engineers were in one location, it would be awesome. Or if you could just remote experimentals, that'd be awesome too. The fact that you have to manually go... Okay, first of all, the fact that you have the pin system for only one blueprint instead of all the blueprints is kind of a weird design choice. Why pin one thing when you can pin all the things? Why? Just why? Usually they have 3 options, so you get a third of all the options. Second, manually visiting the engineers. Well, it could make sense in universe, which is you have to go to the engineer and he's gonna take out the part of your ship and work on it and put it back in, you know. It would make sense in universe. The problem is, all you see in the game is you open the menu, you click the button, you hear the dings noise, and it's done. It's not like you get to participate in any other way in the actual engineering process. You don't help out by, I don't know, taking out the power plant and removing the shell casing with your arc cutter or anything like that. You're not a mechanic in Garage Simulator 2024. You're not in Hard Space Shipbreaker. We're gonna manually break down your ship piece by piece. So all you do is you open the menu, click a button, and it's done. So since we're gonna go that road, why make me manually visit every single engineer for the effects? Anyway, I'm pretty sure the pin system didn't used to exist, so it was even worse. But let's see. I have a couple engineers I need to unlock, like this guy. I need to give him 50 pieces of brandy. Okay, sure. If you're a trader, that can't be that bad. But I'm not a trader. And this is for shield boosts. Do trader need shield boosts? I'm pretty sure PvP, pirate hunters, or any other kind of profession which involve combat need shield boost. Shield boost. Shield boost. So why? Also, see, look at that. He needed he needed two things. First, they need to have a hybridation with somebody else, which is whatever. He needs me to be a good merchant, which is why. And then he needs me to give him brandy. It makes sense with the merchant thing that you have to give him a certain commodity. But why does it give you shield boost? I know merchants could use big shields to not get pirated, but pirates could also use shield boosts, and fighters. Here, she's an exploration person. Upgrades your fuel scoop, refineries, and limpets controllers. That's half mining and half exploration. That's meh. You do on-foot stuff. I haven't even tried on-foot engineering. Spaceship engineering is universal and it applies to almost every profession. On-foot engineering applies to a very limited circumstance, which is it's way too much effort for way too little rewards. Over here, my engines and thrusters and frameshift drive, so to go around, travel 5,000 light years, and give him 25 sensor fragments. Sure. That was the same thing that Professor Palin wanted, the other guy who does engines. But he's part of the alien fighting war. And these requirements have nothing to do with the alien fighting war, whatever. Who else? Missile Lady. You want me to get in good with the Mafia and then do something weird, probably. You, Cannons, you want me to get good with some random faction, sure. That's not too bad. The problem is, I had to do this get good with the faction for this guy. And it wasn't a great experience. You do missions for them, which wouldn't be too bad. For the fact, apart from the fact that missions don't pay good and are they're meh. They're meh. Well, basically, they're meh. So it's meh gameplay. Over here, get good with a faction. Get good with a faction. Have good combat rank because you do scanners and utilities. No relations. Explosive weaponry. You want me to be good in combat because you do armor, countermeasures, and explosive weaponry. That's on brand. If I could have unlocked all these engineers, for example, by rescuing hostages inside the Titan, salvage stuff from the aliens, fight couple aliens, evacuate some passengers, trade commodities on the affected systems by the war, help out in a on-foot combat zone, something like that, whatever. Retake a system. If I could do all that for these guys, I stay in my gameplay loop that I want to do, which was fight aliens. I don't go and mine. I don't go and explore 5,000 light years. I don't go and smuggle stuff on the black market. I fight aliens or do stuff related to aliens to get engineers to do stuff for the aliens, and I get materials to do stuff for the aliens, to do stuff for, it's like a progression. I fight aliens to get better at fighting aliens, to do better against the aliens. It's a progression loop. Anyway, rant over. I'm gonna go and drink some water and have more fun by doing fun things. See you guys tomorrow. Well, dang it, I keep saying tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be a stream. See you guys later. Bye-bye.